I've never worked on a video script when I'm crawling out of my skin, totally and completely pissed off at the world. And we'll get to that. Here's how my brand of bipolar disorder works. I get hypomanic, accomplish a bunch of things, and then something starts to change. First, I feel a little overwhelmed by all the things I'm committed to. It's like too much of a good thing. My body's on its last tank of endorphins. Some people call this their second wind. Soon, my brain can't keep up biochemically with my racing mind and busy body. I get overstimulated, agitated, and extremely pessimistic. I'm probably the least desirable to be around at this point. Now, if I feed it or if a trigger pushes me over the edge, that's when I cause the most damage in my life. Then the crash comes. It's usually proportionate to how high I went. The crash is also compounded by all the stupid shit I did while I was manic. Now I have the perfect reasons to be depressed until the whole cycle starts all over again. Sounds familiar, right? For years, I didn't know that this cycle was part of the illness. My self-awareness just wasn't at a place to see things like that. I'd get super duper quadruple double whammy f***ing pissed off. When my mind gets that emotionally driven, I get pushed into fight or flight mode, a mechanism ingrained in us since the caveman days. But what happens when I feel this crawling out of my skin fight or flight mode and there's no threat? Nothing's chasing or fighting me physically, but good luck convincing my mind of that. Visualize, if you will, a friend smashes your toe with a hammer. You're instantly in pain and fuming pissed off. They apologize profusely. As you start to process what happened, you calm down a little bit. It doesn't make the experience suck any less, but knowing why you're hurting helps you cope with the pain. Now let's say your toe starts hurting that bad for no reason at all. No one smashed it with a hammer, but the pain is undeniably there. Without a reason, you'd probably start Googling your symptoms and eventually come to the conclusion that you have some rare form of toe cancer. Or you might blame it on your spouse, or your boss, or where you live. It just feels better to have a reason for the pain caused by our invisible illness, a little taste of closure. I call us reason junkies, and I'm one of them, tried and true. So let's get back to me being totally and completely pissed off at the world. I recently went through some major losses and life changes, stuff that I only talk about on Patreon. The culmination of things resulted in the perfect bipolar storm. At the time I wrote this video, I was at the peak of some really nasty feelings, super miserable to be around. In the middle of my cranial storm, I had a moment of mindfulness. I realized that I was in a lot of pain and desperately looking for the hammer that caused it. You wouldn't believe some of the garbage tunnels my mind was going down. It was like a computer running simulation after simulation of worst-case scenarios. Once I became aware of it, the noise got even louder, kind of like a sore on your foot that doesn't bother you until you realize it's there. It's a miserable place to be, I must say, but in a weird way, it's my job to get pissed off, to figure out ways to cope with the nasty feelings and share them with the community. Now, I don't have a cure for being pissed off. If I did, I'd bottle it and sell it. Being pissed off, I was obviously in flight mode. You ever punch a wall or break something when you're super angry? It's weird how satisfying it can be. It's almost like tricking our mind into thinking it's the wall's fault, and by introducing said wall to your fist, it provides a temporary feeling that we did something about the threat. We sure showed that wall who's boss now, didn't we? Even the pain in our fist is a nice distraction from the emotional pain. It becomes a go-to coping mechanism because it's instant relief. I can punch a wall or break something and have an instant moment of satisfaction. If I take a chill pill, it might take 30 minutes to kick in. Now, I'm not advocating for pills and punching walls. I really do have a point I'm getting at. Let's say you get super angry, swing at the wall, and just before you hit it, you stop your fist. All of a sudden, your brain goes, "What the f***? Where's my satisfaction? And all the nasty feelings come flooding back in, this time with a little taste of disappointment. It's almost like our body is punishing us for making the right choice and not hitting the wall. For me, it feels like this intense pressure in my head, like my scalp is squeezing my brain. Then I notice my neck is rigor mortis stiff. The muscles around my mouth are contorted and I'm clenching my jaw. Right back to super duper quadruple double whammy pissed off. But I'm aware of it. Can't do something about that sore on your foot until you know it's there, right? If I feel it instead of feed it, if I feel instead of feed, it's the start of my pain dissipating. No rabbit holes, no externalizing my suffering, no blame, just feeling this super intense energy inside of me. It's not pleasant at all. I don't like it, but it's there. The longer I sit with this burning present moment, the more the uncomfortable energy starts to dissipate. Now, my mind is tricky. It will go back to running simulations again, kind of like the Matrix. It's just what minds do. Every time you realize your mind is running a simulation, it's another recovery, a moment of breaking free. The more you do this, the more you slowly start to create new neural connections in your brain. Eventually, you'll be able to recover, control, and maybe even harness this energy sooner, before you get to a peak where you're kissing walls with your fist. It's like having a bunch of gas. You can light it and watch it all explode in seconds, or you can put it into a vehicle to get you somewhere better. Growing pains suck. They hurt. There isn't a video on my channel where I say the Polar Warrior path is easy. This practice takes some serious practice. I'm working on this stuff too. So the next time you feel super duper ultra max whatever pissed off, take a step outside your head, figure out what simulation is running, focus on the feeling and not the words. Then rinse and repeat. The upper echelon of warrior training would be to transmute these strong feelings into useful actions, to give your suffering a purpose. I demonstrated this by putting that raw energy into scripting a new Polar Warrior video. The more mindful the activity, the harder it is for your mind to run simulations. Try riding a bike while listening to music and counting the trees at the same time. Your mind won't have a chance to run nasty simulations. And if it does, you'll know what to do. Sometimes you have to lose your mind to come to your senses. Thank you for listening to me rant today. Take extra good care of yourselves, and I'll be back here soon with more Polar Warrior videos. Stay well.